Alrighty. Going through some of the material of the Moon Base podcast, I've found a few hidden episodes. We got a couple here. We got the time we visited the Freedom Convoy, a old reunion. The co-host is no longer with us, but we still have the episode here. And then we also have the time we interviewed the Hoff twins, and we're set to drop that as well. But for now, we'll start off with the reunion episode after being gone for a few months there. It might have actually been over a year since we last recorded. No, I think just under a year. And yeah, a lot changed since we took that break there. During the break, a lot changed, and everything's kind of turned head over heels here, but this is an episode from when we had a little reunion after my trip to the States. It kind of details what went on there and how that went, and yeah, here it is. And we're live. This is the Moon Base podcast, back after quite a little bit.
A little hiatus.
A little bit of adventuring.
I just want to see if this has anything like to offer beyond like just watching a dude beat the shit out of
So what are we watching here?
Okay, so this is a compilation of It's a compilation of Don Fry. It's a compilation of Don Fry, who is I think he's like, hold on, let me get some stats. So Don Fry is like an old school wrestler from like when UFC first started. I think he competed in UFC 2 or UFC 3. Yeah, he won the UFC 8 tournament. He's, why the fuck is this in metric? He's 1.85 meters, which I think is like 6'4 or 6'5, and 93 kilos, which 93 times 2.2. So he's what, like 225, 230 maybe? He's a big dude. And I was introduced to Don Fry, A, because he's got probably the manliest mustache I've ever seen in my life, and B, because there's this video where in the UFC cage he fucking picks this dude up above his head, like fully above his head, and he throws him. I think we talked about that in the podcast before. Actually, this guy's an animal, but there's just this. We're just gonna.
Yeah, he did some pro wrestling too, which is not so good on the back either. You know, Don Fry was a beast. Holy shit, I remember your fight with Tank. What a fucking fight that was. My God. He hits hard.
Oh, there's him on Rogan.
Yeah. Fry's been on Rogan.
Holy shit. Look at that fucking beard. That's the they both, man. The manliest mustache against the manliest goatee. That fucking goatee, dude. Holy. Can you imagine going to a UFC fight back then? Like the late 90s? Jesus Christ. Actually, it's probably more entertaining now, because the late 90s is a bunch of Japanese dudes, some Brazilian dudes, and mostly just a bunch of white guys.
Just like a bunch of tankers, like swinging and banging.
A bunch of fucking white brawlers who...
Yeah. It's like swinging and banging now. There's like some actual technique to it. You know?
Oh, yeah, very different. Music's pretty baller in that, though. That looked cool. Okay. Yeah, Don Fry. So, we're back. It's been a while. We've, can you sauce me another beer there?
Yeah, I gotta fucking reload myself.
Yeah. Alright.
Yeah, man. I also, at some point, I want to talk about the U.S. Because that was like a whole thing in itself that hasn't been covered.
So, we've been... Well, let's give a quick update. So, the plan is to actually start doing these again. We're gonna email a bunch of people, try and get some sick. We've been talking about doing this for like 6 months. We just haven't done
Anyone that reached out for an interview that was like pending, I'm really sorry if we didn't get back to you. Our bad. There was a lot going on, a lot of moving parts.
Yeah,
both of our lives quite turned in a very different direction, and
things are good now.
Yeah,
we're back to
ish. Yeah.
But holy shit. Okay, so yeah. Let me, because I haven't even asked you about your U.S. trip really yet.
No, not really.
Okay, so for those that didn't know, between the last podcast and this podcast, Cap grew an entire beard, shaved it, and basically grew the whole thing back already. You grow hair like a fucking bear, man.
Dude, I could do it in like a month.
I actually can't believe how fast that thing's back. But in between that time, I found him in a Walmart parking lot looking like a fucking absolute hillbilly. His beard hair was out to like fucking 10 inches. He looked like a Iraqi war vet living in a trailer with two big ass fucking dogs. Yeah. So the whole purpose of that was a road trip. So tell us a little bit about why you decided to do the whole road trip to begin with.
So the winter weather in Canada is kind of shit. The whole initial idea behind the trailer was saving some money and living in like an environment that would provide opportunity for adventure, which it most certainly did. But yeah, going down the States was really, like, I'd say it really started in Brockville where the adventure took off. And that was with finding a bunch of bicycles in the back of a dumpster behind Walmart. And they were like mint bikes. They would just each have a tag on them that said what was exactly wrong with them. But they would have like 3 of the same bikes. So I just would like swap the parts. And then we ended up having 2 like pretty decent bikes to go down to the States with too.
So
with
they didn't send them back to manufacturers if like a bike
no,
because
it's not worth it for them. Yeah, they just throw it out. It's not worth it for their like business or whatever, I guess.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, like I fixed up 2 of them. There was a third one that I tried to fix up, but like it was just like a little fuckered, like with the rim and all. It would just cut the tires, like the inner tubes. But besides that, like yeah, got 2 bikes up and going. Biked around Brockville a bit. Saw what was up in Brockville. Not a bad town. Pretty nice overall. Had some like quote unquote Texas barbecue down there, but it was good. And I'd recommend it, and it's probably the only Texas barbecue place in Brockville, so like you could just hit it up, and I'm sure they'll know who you're talking about. It's the only local one. Yeah, so that's really where the journey started, and then in Brockville, it was like really a big rush, because Canada, there are certain rules that are a little different than the U.S., so getting over the border was like a little bit of a concern, just because like there have been vast amounts of marijuana through my trailer. And just to like describe the trailer, so it's a 21-foot Jayco with 1 slide, single axle trailer, has a kitchenette, a little dinette that's part of the slide. And then it has the double or queen bed. I don't even fucking remember.
It's pretty big.
Yeah, it's pretty big. And then it has cupboards and shit all up on the top. Has an AC unit. Has a bathroom. Has a shower.
It's nice.
A little counter.
It's a brand new trailer.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Yeah, so that was like really the main rig going down. And then that was towed by my Lexus RX 350 2008. Which I recently just replaced the alternator on, which was like a cunt and a half. It was ridiculous. Toyota, I don't know why you have that alternator bracket like hooking up to the alternator, because I just like completely like didn't install that anymore, and like my car's been running fine, and it's actually been more fuel efficient since I've removed some of your weather shielding in strategic areas. So like hit me up about that if you want to know what's up. Yeah, but besides that, yeah, like with the trailer and all, so yeah, I got my Lexus hooked up for having a 7-pin connector, so it could hook up to the electric brakes and all that shit. And then yeah, after I got the trailer, I pretty much was like a homeless person for a little bit there, like just for a couple months, like living around the greater Canada area, you know.
It's a lot of exposition. When did the road trip start? Because you did go pretty much down all the way.
So I quit my job like October 4th. And then we went to Brockville. And then I think on like the 14th we left. And before that was just prep. And then we headed out there. Across the border. Going into the U.S. was a whole thing. Yeah, like we were worried about like just leaving like some weed or whatever, right? Because you could get banned from the U.S. from doing that.
Like even if you have a little bit?
Oh yeah, like you could have a roach and like get banned for like 5 years or something.
Seriously? Holy fuck.
Oh no, like you could get fucked even like coming back in. Like the border doesn't fuck around that much. Jeez. But like also there's like a bunch of numbnuts there, so like I don't know, like we got through, and then like I just remember like her going through the center console and pulling out a weed vape that I completely forgot I just like had in the center console, and that was the first time we got high in the U.S. But there were more to come. Don't you worry about that. But you know what I mean? It was just like we had like maybe like 4 to 6 border agents search between the car and the trailer when we went in.
Did they find anything?
They were fully looking through everything. They found tarantulas that we forgot to declare, but then we got the import stamps for them.
Live tarantulas?
Yes.
You had tarantulas in the trailer?
Yeah.
You weren't
2. One was a Mexican red knee, and the other one was like some Brazilian bird eater tarantula.
Are either of those venomous?
They're both like you can't like touch them. Like they're not like.
So like if it got like
if it got out, you'd be fucked. Like the hairs on these tarantulas will like make you go like they can like they're the ones that.
Why would you bring these with you into the States?
Women.
Jesus.
Women with said tarantulas.
How did you feed them? You just open up the tank, drop the food, and...
Yeah, you just dump a bunch of crickets in there, and then they fuck... It's cool to watch. Like, you get a little high, you fucking... It was funny at the border. They were like, why do you have these pets if you just forgot about them? And we're like... well, like, you know, when you really, like... chilling, because you can't say you're getting high at the U.S. border.
Yeah.
So it's like when you're really chilling, you dump a bunch of crickets and you just watch them hunt. But they hunt that shit. Like they'll like go and like sink their fangs in it. It's cool as fuck to watch.
So it's literally entertainment.
Yeah.
Well, how much is like a big thing of crickets? Like $5?
Yeah, like it's nothing.
Cheap entertainment.
It's nothing. And like you feed them like once every 2 weeks or something. But like I don't know. I'd get a scorpion maybe, but like also like. Not my shtick at the moment, like, you know?
I always liked snakes. I've had 3 snakes, and they're, like, probably the only, like, weird animal I'm okay with. I think snakes are fucking cool. Also, like, snakes...
Shout out to Laurier. This is the Snake Man's podcast.
Oh, okay. Is that, like, a dude on...
No, Laurier's the university, but they fully changed the university policy because of me, because I kept, like, a shit ton of snakes.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
What did they change?
Did I not tell you that?
No!
I thought I told you.
No, it's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
So, like, when I was in uni and, like, doing that whole, like, alternative lifestyle, there was one point where I just, like, got a bunch of snakes, so
How
I
many
had,
snakes?
Like... 7 or 8 snake tanks, but then like I probably had like 6 or 7 snakes. But they
in
were
your
like
room.
No, I had a separate room for them. There was a snake room.
Okay, so you have a dorm room.
Yes,
that you slept
in. But it's like 5 rooms, and then there's a common area. There's like 2 or 3 bathrooms. No, there's 2 bathrooms.
Oh, this is
and
the
then
one
there's
where
3 closets. Yeah, it's like a little hallway thing.
And then there's like the kitchen and the shit in the
middle.
for
sure. It's one of those.
So you just took one of the rooms for the snakes?
No, one of the closets was the snake room, and then so I had like a bunch of tanks in there, and then I'd
just
have
all
like
along the
people
shelves?
come through, would be doing trap shit, like we're doing all a bunch of hooligan shit, and then Yeah, like I just had all these snakes, and I had a bunch of different species too. I had like ball pythons, I had boa constrictors, I had a red tail boa constrictor, I had a Nicaraguan dwarf boa, I had a black eastern king snake. Like that dude was dope too, because I'd like come in the room and he'd just pop his head out of the like sand or whatever, and he'd just like every time I came, he'd like want to come up and just like get attention. But that was the only snake that bit me too. Yeah.
That thing looks pretty fucking gnarly, dude.
That's the only one that bit me, but it's just a constrictor.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that's the okay. So hold on, before I get sidetracked here. So what policy did they change?
I'm not exactly sure, but like since I went there, like I know other people that went that I knew to the same school. And then they had like full briefs when they were going into the dorms about what I did. And then my buddy was just like, yo, like I know that guy, like that's my homie. And they were like, damn, like that's wild. And like if you go to Laurier now, I'm sure there's still some people where like if you're like, yo, I know Snake Man, that's my boy. Like they'll be like, bro, like that's fucked up. Like, you know, Snake Man, like that's fucked.
Did you take care of them? Like you fed them properly?
To an extent.
So some of them were a little neglected?
No. I mean, they were healthy. They were overfed at times. Like,
oh, okay.
But, like, I don't know. The whole story ends with a bunch of Xanax, so, like, I don't really remember exactly how it ends and exactly where all of them ended up.
Jesus.
But, I hope...
I like snakes, though, because snakes aren't, like... I think snakes are portrayed... in like literature and just kind of in general is like either one or the other, either like kind of like dangerous erotic animals, like a lot of like women throughout history is like because like oh they're like sexy but they have snakes, so the snakes are like scary. It was always like probably because of like Satan in the Bible, right? But like snakes were always like snakes are dangerous. They represented some symbol of danger. But, like, in all honesty, like, you've had lots of snakes. I've had snakes. They're not
they're chill as fuck. And also, out of any pet, like, if you're, like, a piece of shit and you can't, like, take care of a pet, snake's, like, really where to start at. Because, like,
they're super
you feed
easy.
that motherfucker once every 2 weeks. You feed him, like, a little frozen rat that you just put in, like, a tea... Like in a hot fucking mug of water.
Heat up the rat, yeah.
Yeah, and like it's the easiest thing to take care of ever.
Sometimes you gotta like fucking make the rat look like it's alive so it'll get it. And then,
or like, if they're picky, you just like wait another 2 weeks.
I was gonna say that's the other thing too. Like, don't free for people who like want to get snakes or have snakes. If your snake doesn't eat for like 2 months, it's fine. Like sometimes they just don't. Eat.
In the winter, sometimes they just do that naturally.
They just
depending on your snake, like they'll like. They might feel that it's a little colder, like in the ambience, and like
especially if you got the snake that it's like a little older, and like maybe it was on a different feeding schedule before, and like you're feeding it every 2 weeks. After a while, it's like, yo, I'm full. Like I don't need to like eat anymore.
Oh yeah.
So like
that's definitely how I started.
They're not fucking like obviously you can't sleep with snakes because like they're gonna like especially. Boas.
I did that. I had my 6 foot boa, and it would sleep. Like wrapped around my neck every night, and
no,
then, like,
it didn't.
I'm not even shitting you. I'm not bullshitting you. Like it would sleep beside me, either like pressed against my side, or it would wrap like around me, kind of, but not fully to like constrict. It would just chill there because I was warm. And then every morning I just wake up and like open like random cupboards and drawers, and the boa would just be in there. I just grab it out, throw it on my neck, and go smoke a blunt outside.
Dude, I always heard that, like, if you sleep with a boa, it'll size you up and then try and, like, kill you while you're sleeping.
I've slept with a boa, like, multiple times. I'm not even bullshitting you. Like, I have no reason to, you know? Like, and it was, like, a pretty big boa, but, like, if you're thicker than its thickest point, then it has no reason to try and, like, eat you. Because, like, that boa, like, 6 foot long... Yeah, it's a big snake, whatever.
Yeah.
It could kill me, strength-wise, like, around my neck, definitely. Could kill me. But, like, it would probably just size me up and be like, this neck is, like, 3 or 4 times larger than me. And then probably just chilled, like, overnight. But, like,
I was just going to say that I've never been bit. Like, I've never had a snake bite me before.
I got bit one time, but it was because I was feeding them live rats. And
Oh,
then
okay.
the
But you
rat
were feeding them. That's the only...
the rat, like, hid under some shit, and then I removed what it was hiding under, and then my hand moving, the snake was, like target.
That,
then,
like, perfectly proves... Like, if you're not feeding it, they're super docile animals.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, feeding time, they get aggressive, because it's like, it's time to kill,
but it's just instinct.
But it's instinct. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're just like a little
especially
robot.
if you handle them a lot, like, they're super fucking gentle.
Oh, yeah.
Like, super gentle.
Yeah.
And, like, some of them, like, I had a snake that, I don't know what happened to it, but it had, like, a scar on its head. So, like, it didn't like getting its head pet. You had to be really careful around its head. But it would still not bite you. It would just kind of get pissed off. Yeah, it'd be like, yo, like, don't fucking touch my head.
Yeah.
But, like, I had other snakes, so you could fucking pet their head. You could...
Oh, yeah.
And they're cool to hang out with, right? You, like, watch TV, and you just kind of fucking... It's especially, like, if you got ADHD.
Therapeutic.
Yeah, it's like a fucking... It's like a fidget toy.
Yeah,
You just fucking, like, handle this snake in your hands, or you let it, like... It's kind of, like, soothing, having something, like, wrapped around you, or, like, wrapped around your neck. Like, it's almost, like, comforting. Especially because you know it's, like, a live creature, and, like, it's hanging
like a
out.
hug.
Yeah, it's hanging out, you're hanging out. I used to let it... I had, like, a shoe rack, and I used to let it, like, go in the shoes and go hang out, and... You just gotta watch them, because they're curious, right? Like, if you have vents, they're gonna fucking try and escape. Like, you gotta... You can't. I wouldn't let your snake, like, roam free without watching it, because, like, they can get into stuff. Sometimes they're, like, fucking weird. Like, if you have, like, a weird crack somewhere, they'll, like,
oh yeah, they'll
try and go,
yeah.
and then, like, they might get stuck, or like
the best is, like, if you just, like, throw, like, 3 or 4 blankets on a couch and then put your snake on it, but, like, make sure
like,
they're all just, like, in
yeah.
a big pile. It'll just, like, keep, like, pushing its head into different cracks to, like, see where it can just, like, curl up into
snakes
a big
are
pile.
Like a cool animal to just, like, watch hang out.
Yeah.
I fucking like snakes.
I agree. Yeah. So on the U.S.
yeah, please.
Where were we at?
You just...
Brockville, yeah. We're just passing the border.
You're just crossing the border with the tarantulas.
Yeah, some of the border cops are assholes. Hey, Officer Polson, if you're listening to this, I want you to eat my fucking ass. You're a piece of shit. Like, you left my protein bag open on my bed. Like, fuck you.
Wait,
I hope you, like, your fucking mom gets ovarian cancer, you piece of shit. Yeah, this one cop, like, I don't know, he's just a cocksucker the whole time. Everyone else was chill, or, like, they'd be a bastard, but then they'd tell you, like, you could tell they were joking about just giving you a hard time, kind of. But this guy was just, like, a bastard, so, like, I'm not gonna go too much in detail, but, like, Polson, if you're listening to, like, if you're listening to this, like, yeah, go fuck yourself. Yeah, besides that, though, like, after we got over, we went to Watertown.
So what did he do? I want to understand what he did.
He was just a cock. Like, he'd be like,
he left your protein
like,
bag
he
on
was
your
like, like, come here, I want to ask you some stuff. Like, while he's looking through my fucking house, which is, like, my trailer hooked up to the car.
Right.
And he's like, are there any drugs and weapons here? And I'm like, not that I know of. And then he's like, not that you know of. And then it's like, oh, like, yeah, because I'm with someone else, like, fucking eat my ass, man. Like, if anyone's bringing drugs or weapons over, it's me. Like, fuck off. Like, you know, you're being a cockhead. And then, like, I don't know, he's just like, he was the same dude that was like, why would you have tarantulas if you don't even, like, remember them? And it's like, yo, Polson, like, why do you even have lips if, like, you're busy talking to me when you could be sucking dick, you fucking fag? Like...
Jesus Christ. Okay, so, we get over the border. Where are we going?
We went to Watertown.
Okay, which is in New York.
Yeah, and, that was okay. It was shitty, though, because, like, we didn't have that much weed. We had, like, some dabs and stuff. But also, like, if you just smoke weed, like, constantly, regularly, not having any weed is, like, weird. There were also some other circumstances where, like, alcohol wasn't permitted for some. Just because they would be, like, sick. You know?
Oh, okay.
So it was like, I can just like get litty by myself, or just like find weed or whatever.
You said you did some like research chemicals, right?
There was one point, yeah, that was in Pennsylvania, different state. So
how does that work? Like, did you fucking go to like a lab or like somewhere?
No, that was like in the U.S. because like it's so fucked up. Like there, you can find like convenience stores. They'll just have like a THC symbol and it'll be like 8 THC Delta or whatever.
And that's legal?
Yeah, it's legal, but it's just because it's like some weird like chemical derivative of THC that's not actually THC. Like it's some bullshit.
Did it get you high?
Yeah, but like if you count like I don't know, like if you count that getting high, I'd count like taking melatonin getting you high.
Oh,
like,
so like not really.
Like the one I did was THCO and it was like this edible, but like it just made me feel like groggy and out of it for like 4 or 5 hours.
So did it just have like CBN and CBD or what?
No, it's THCO. That's the actual chemical. So it's like a THC like derivative. So with research chemicals, they'll like have the initial like base chemical, and then they'll just like add like another molecule or whatever to fucking make it legal. So it's not technically the illegal drug, but a lot of the times that fucks it up in the effects and shit, you know what I mean? And also if you're just getting, like, if I only gave you pure THC compared to smoking a joint, like in a joint you're getting like way more cannabinoids, like you're getting like a bunch of different shit. Whereas if you're getting this one like specifically engineered like chemical,
right,
you're gonna have a very different experience, you know? But yeah, that was Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania was cool in like that there were I don't know, like the more south you go, the more like cool outdoors shit you see in stores in generally, I'd say.
You went to that Trump store?
Yeah, that was in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
That was fucked. You sent me some pictures from that place. That was I'm not like I was very happy when Trump won. I remember like texting my friend. I'm not like an anti-Trumper. I don't fully support him either because I think he did some shit that like was fucked, and I don't even think he wanted to do it. I think he did shit just to like try and stay in power, and like I think he sold himself out a little bit because I don't think he's that fucking crazy. I think he was just like trying to cater to his base. So I just want to preface that I'm not trying to shit on Trump, but I am gonna shit on people that support him like they do it. That fuck. Some of the pictures you sent me were fucking crazy.
What with
like the fortune telling Trump?
Oh yeah, no man,
it's like a fucking cult.
It was like a different world, man. Like in down in Myrtle Beach, there it was like there'd be like the Myrtle Beach flag that like I don't even know if that was one of the ones they changed because it had the Confederate flag before, but like there were Myrtle Beach flags with just Confederate flags like over them. It's just like a palm tree and a moon, but like there was just a bunch of weird custom shit like that. There's a huge Jeep culture. I maybe have like 10 rubber duckies around my bathtub right now. It's just like ones I found on the road because there's like this thing that like weird custom Jeep people in Myrtle Beach do. So like if you have a cool like really custom Jeep that has like rims and like whatever, it's like I like suck big dicks on the back and all that.
Yeah.
So like what they'll do is they'll put this duck and it'll have like their Instagram maybe or something like that. It'll be like, "You've been ducked," and it's like
what?
Like the "you've been ducked" thing is like you have a cool Jeep and I also have a Jeep and like I'm putting this duck on your Jeep because like I can't be here to suck you off personally in like a very homoerotic fashion. So like,
are you like fucking with me right now? Like,
I'm not even shitting you though. Like the ducks is a real thing, but like the like
you're saying it like, but like it's actually like if someone sees a Jeep that they like, they leave a duck on it with their
windows? But it's like a Jeep people thing. Like it's a secret. Like, well, it's not secret, but it's like a little like community, you know?
Okay,
it's
so like explain to me how that. So like, okay,
so like you have a cool Jeep, right?
Yeah.
Like let's say like You and your boyfriend fucking pull up to this oyster bar or whatever, and I'm here like fucking looking for dick to suck or something with my cool Jeep.
No, but like
quote unquote.
But like being real, okay. So like I'm fucking Billy Bob. You're like Joe Thornton.
Yeah.
Okay. No. So I have a cool Jeep. I see a cool Jeep in the parking lot.
Yeah.
There's no one there. I'm gonna go grab a rubber duck with my info on it and leave it on your Jeep.
No. You've pre-purchased a bunch of these rubber ducks, and you keep them in your car.
And they have.
And then whenever you see another cool, customized
I leave
Jeep,
that
you
person.
leave the duck on their like hood or
the
whatever.
duck has info on it, or it's just
sometimes, or it's sometimes just the duck.
So it's like a props. It's like, hey man, props for having a nice Jeep.
Yeah.
Okay, but then sometimes it's like props for having a nice Jeep. Fucking slide in my DMs so I can suck you off.
No, not explicitly, but I'd imagine anyone that puts like little rubber ducks on other people's hoods is like, there's something going on.
So do you think if you were in that Jeep world and no one left the rubber duck on you, you'd be kind of offended? You'd be like, what the fuck, is my Jeep like not up to snuff? Is that like the rite of passage? Like once you get a rubber ducky and you're in?
I really don't know. I can't like. It was one of those things where it's like, this is one of the weird things that Myrtle Beach people
That's really
do.
fucking strange, man.
It is. Dude, Myrtle Beach was a weird place. Like, one time we were biking down, we were going to just like, go in the Bass Pro, okay?
Okay.
I got this like really like little tism thing going where I just got really into flies. But, like, it turned out that
like flies for fly fishing?
Yeah, like flies for fly fishing.
Sure.
But making them specifically. But also, I've looked into it now, and, like, so my most recent thing has been going to the bush. That's another story, not this podcast. But over this trip, I've gotten into flies, and flies are, like, super useful to know how to make in the bush. Which I didn't realize until recently.
What can you do with a fly in the bush other than fish?
Well, like you fish, but like you can't catch fish in a lot of other ways in the bush because like what are you gonna do? Make a fucking sinker out of clay? Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So make a sinker out of mud. Like fly fishing's like one of the main ways because with fly fishing, all you need is the fly, a line, and then a like fucking pop can or something that you can wrap the line around to cast it, you know?
Damn.
But yeah, I got into fly fishing, so we were fucking biking down to Bass Pro so I could get more fly fishing tying gear. So I have
hold on. Before you go, because I understand.
Look into fly tying.
So hold on.
Look into fly tying. That's what I'm talking about.
So like I know what fly fishing is, but I don't actually understand how it works. So, like, you basically, like, wade into the water, right? You put on, like, fucking waterproof coveralls or whatever. You go in.
Not always.
Okay.
You can fly fish off the shore.
But basically, you're just casting and then you're just continually casting your line.
You cast and then you pull it back so it mimics, like... So that's, like, the dry flies specifically. Yeah. It's supposed to mimic... like an insect that fell in the water and is going across the surface to get back to land.
Okay. Oh,
so when a fish
fly
sees
fishing,
that,
you're pretending to be a fly.
Yeah. So when a fish sees that, they're like, "Oh, that's the thing." But you could like do it with larvae, do it with a bunch of different things.
So you can attach shit to the hook, like grub or whatever you find.
No, you make the hooks. Like each hook is custom. Like I should have brought it, but like if you want, like. We'll have a Moonbase episode where we tie flies if you want.
Tell me,
look at fly tying.
Fly?
Like fly fish, like fishing fly tying or something like that. Yeah. So like these are all like they're different. Oh. So I bought this vise set and
so like you literally
get different feathers and you get different like strings and different patterns and
so you're making different bugs with hooks at the end of them.
Pretty much, yeah. And then, but these bugs, like, you could use them with the fly fishing rig, but if you use them with just, like, a Snapple on, like, if you use them with, like, a Snapple bottle, like, you could fish with that, like, that's how a lot of people in Romania do it. You just have, like, a glass bottle with a wide enough mouth.
Tie it.
You wrap a bunch of, like, cord around it, you fucking cast it out, just slowly pull it in, and then just keep wrapping it around the bottle mouth.
Do that all day
yeah,
long
and then you
get
just
a fish?
do that all day, and then like if it's a good spot,
it work?
you get you get fish. Like
so, not having a rod, if you catch a fish, you gotta fucking pull that thing in by hand.
Well, like you use the lip of the bottle too, right? Like you pull with your bottle. That's why you have it on the bottle in the first place, because you can't just like. If it's a big enough fish, you can't just pull it with your hand.
Right.
I'm also no expert on any of these techniques. I've like seen them done and
seemed
fucked
like you would
around
want like fucking gloves and shit, right? Like when you're, especially if you get a fish, otherwise you're gonna fucking slice your hands open on the line, right?
Depends too. Like you could even just use like a fucking towel or like your sleeve or even your hand, man. Like. You can feel when there's a point of like it's going through skin, it's going through flesh. You just take your hand off, and then you put something else.
I guess you could have a net too, right? Like once you get it close enough, you fucking throw it in the net. And
I've never done that. I just pull it off on shore, like in Romania.
Like, have you done fly fishing before?
Not fly fishing, but like the bottle fishing I have.
Which is basically the same thing.
There's similar fishing where it's just like you cast but without a reel. And it's like a similar kind of technique too.
Okay.
But that one has still a sinker. But the main advantage with the fly is like if you're in a remote area and you can't like just get a sinker or whatever, you can have this system that like has a surface looking insect. But also, if you're really good at fly fishing, from what I've seen online, you can catch some of the nicest fish, like brook trout and stuff like that. Like there'll be like rainbow trout where it's like you like just have the most beautiful looking fish in your hand that you caught with like your little tiny fly that you like tied up, and like I don't know, I like the fly tying part of it because like it's really autistic. Like,
well, I could see you getting like really into it. Like,
yeah, just like to mimic different bug patterns, and like you can follow predetermined patterns too, but you could also be like, okay, this bug pattern uses this to lure it in, this bug pattern uses this. Like, what if I mix the two, or like try and make my own thing?
Figure out like what kind of works and try and make like the best lure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see people getting really fucking obsessed with that shit.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome, like, for outdoor shit. So, yeah, that was Pennsylvania, got into that. And I think by then, too, by then we already passed through New Jersey, and that's where I found out that Walmart sells pound or pound and a half jars of smokeless powder, like black powder. So I just started making explosives, and the first one I made...
you sent me some videos.
Yeah, I wrapped it in duct tape, so I sprinkled a bunch of this black powder, like smokeless powder, on this duct tape and folded it in half. But I put too much, and then I drilled a hole in this pill bottle and filled it with black powder and then stuck the fuse in. So when I lit it, it just burned down immediately, and then I just had enough time to turn around, and then it just like detonated, but like I felt it like go through my pants and all that shit. Like I had a few close calls down in the States with like setting off some shit where it was like, damn, like I felt my pants ripple from that one.
Good thing you didn't have like ball bearings or something in there. You would have basically taken a grenade to the leg.
Yeah, there was one that was kind of cool. So this anthill was like biting the old lady in the feet. Like when she came out to see whatever the fuck was going on.
Did you pour the molten fucking...
No. I just like dug a hole.
Those are fucking cool videos.
That's cool. The molten aluminum, that's cool.
Yeah, and then they fucking pull out like the whole...
Yeah, I can appreciate those.
Cast. That shit's sick.
So it was one of those anthills, like it was the same size, but I just dug it out a little and then put like a little explosive in it, and then I detonated it, and it just collapsed all the tunnels. And like I checked a day and then the day after, and then there were no ants came out of that. Like I collapsed all the tunnels. I like fully murdered that colony. But after I detonated that, this steakhouse that I did it behind, they called the cops on me. So like I had like half of the Greenville Police Department from North Carolina come to my trailer, and they knocked on the door, and there were like 3 cops there, and they were like, oh, like, We had a report of you loading your shotgun.
How many cops were like outside?
Total, there were like 3 or 4 cruisers there.
Jeez.
There was a supervisor though. Like there were there were the ones I was talking to, but there were ones around the corner of my trailer, like
so there
with their hands on their guns, like ready in case I was just a nut to like put me in the ground. But then I just like talked to the cops, and they were all cool, and like. I was like, yeah, like I had this rifle out in the field. I was like shooting at some ceramic targets, and they were like, oh, okay, like that's legal. Like we just had a lot of crime in the area, and like we wanted to make sure you weren't murdering anyone. Like we had like reports of like shotguns being loaded for like, and people got murdered here like in similar ways. So, like we just wanted to check it out, and I was like, yeah, no, here's the rifle. Like check it out, whatever.
It's an air rifle too, right?
Yeah. They looked at it. They were like, it's all cool. Like, it's all good.
Yeah, you're shooting targets with an air rifle, and you blew up an anthill with, like, a...
No, I didn't. They didn't even know about that part, though.
Oh, okay.
Like, it was just like, yeah, this is just the air rifle, because they just mentioned a shotgun, and they were like, oh, okay, like, yeah, it's fine. And I was like, oh, but, like, also, like, are you guys, like, an open carry or concealed carry state, like, right? Because, like, I should just be able to walk around with a shotgun, like... That shouldn't be an issue here, right? Like, for, like, the state's, like, legislature and shit.
Because you're in North Carolina?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they were like, yeah, no, it's fine. Like, there's, like, concealed carry's different. If you want, though, it's, like, a 3-day course at the sheriff's office. Like, if you want info on that, we can, like, look into it, like, for you right now. But, like, yeah, otherwise, like, yeah, it's just a course at the sheriff's office, and you can, like, conceal carry. I'm like, oh, can foreigners do it? He's like, nah, but, like... Might as well look into it because you could probably do it.
Cops sound really cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah, they were pretty cool. That was like probably like one of the chillest cop interactions I had, but also like I'm just like a white shirtless man in a trailer. So,
in North Carolina.
Yeah.
That's true. If you're a black dude, it might have went down a little bit differently, you think?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like...
I mean, you were just doing redneck shit, like...
Yeah, like, at the end of the day, like, I'm not hurting nobody, like...
No.
What can you, like, actually give me a hard time for?
That's true. It's not like you... It's not like you actually did anything.
Yeah.
Oh, shit!
What?
Oh, let's get stretch.
So, yeah, that was North Carolina. So, it was... New Jersey is where the initial explosives were acquired and where... We almost blew up a few times. Well, I did. Also found puffballs, like outdoor puffball mushrooms. And then I cut them up and fried them. And they were fucking delicious. Like, I cut them into, like, big schnitzel, like, size,
you
like,
weren't
steaks.
worried if they were, like, you know, I don't know.
Not puffballs? I Googled them. And then there's one that was like a dangerous mushroom, and then the other ones I ate them.
Look at the size of that one.
Yeah, no, they're big. Like
they get fucking huge.
They weren't that big though. They're just like maybe like 2 or 3 times the size of my fist.
It says they're kind of like king oysters.
Yeah.
So they're like tasty.
Yeah, they're good. Fried them up with like butter and like garlic powder and salt and pepper and like Cajun spices, and it was fucking bomb. It's good as fuck. That was some olive oil. Can't go wrong.
Just picking. Oh yeah, there you go. It's giant puffball season. There you go.
Yeah, buddy.
Someone fucking cooking it in their yard. I've never actually.
And we blew up logs in the same area too. There's like
Jesus Christ.
There's this one log where it's like it had this little slit in it, and then so we found a bunch of this hobo's like little fireball stash of empty like 1 ounce like shot containers.
Okay.
And then I got a bunch of them, and then I made a bunch more duct tape fuses, but with less powder, so they wouldn't blow up immediately.
Of course.
So I did that, and then I put one in this like log, so I lit it, and the fuse worked well. Like it like burned down nice. And then when it hit, it just, like, exploded, but it, like, split this part of the log, like, down the middle. It was sick. I still have, like, probably over half a pound of that explosive, too. I also have tannerite, too. I just don't know if I want to, like, hit it with my compound bow. Because, like, I feel like if a compound bow...
You might blow up the arrow.
Yeah, like, if a blade...
The arrow.
But, like, if a blade from my broadhead flies back at me fast enough, like, I feel like
I don't know if that would happen, but it's... Yeah, I wouldn't risk it. Also, you'd probably just fuck up your arrow, like...
I don't care if it's one arrow. It's like $11, but
Yeah.
like for a one-time thing. But like I
mean, it depends how much.
If I shoot it with a broadhead, and I have like a piece of like field head going in through my thigh, and like piece of broadhead piercing a lung, like
in there. When I used to go shoot, like up in like rural Manitoba, we'd shoot tannerite all the time, but it was from like, I don't know, like 80 feet away, maybe 100 feet away with a fucking like rifle through the scope in prone, and like you were blowing it up in a field, right?
I just have like a half pound, man. It's
okay, because I think we got like, I think the biggest one
half pound or a pound. Something.
What the little fucking jars?
It's a jar. It's like this big.
Okay, so we probably did 3 of those.
Okay.
So it was a pretty big boom. Like
I paid like $5 for it. I think.
Yeah. Sometimes you can get them on sale too.
Well, I paid for them in the U.S. Like, beer's like that too, man. It's $10 for a 12. Like, not even like it's $10. Yeah, it's like fucking like I don't know, $16 for a 12-pack in the U.S. Like, it's stupid. Like,
yeah, but think about the conversion rate. It's basically the same.
Nah. Like, well, like, I don't know. It's
75, I think.
Like, I paid like $6.50 for a 6-pack at the gas station, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that is still cheaper. But, like, you have to remember, like, our money's like 75%.
Yeah, our money's
75 cents on the dollar. Like, it's pretty fucking shit compared to the U.S. It's kind of nuts. I always thought foraging mushrooms would be really cool. Like, learning... Just I
have a buck on it.
Just edible. I know, it's just like I have resources. It's more just like it's one of those things that you can't just sit and fucking read it. You actually like gotta go out in the woods.
You gotta be like autistic about. Well, like you gotta go out.
You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna retain it because like you'll see something and be like, I think I read that this was okay, but like unless you fucking match up like A to B, it's hard to like make that. Connection and like my old therapist actually like one time I tried to like book with him and he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be off for a month and a half. I'm going fucking he's like he forages for mushrooms in the summers. He'll like take a month and a half and like he makes fucking like you can make a lot of money if you know what you're doing.
Oh yeah,
like I think he goes out with like 2 other guys and like he like. Just for context, I'm pretty sure this guy charges like between $140 and $175 an hour for his sessions, and he took the summers off to go wild mushroom foraging. I'm sure he didn't make like more money, but he definitely made enough that he felt that was worth it, which is crazy. Like, fucking nuts. Like, I mean, truffle farmers for sure, but I don't know if they have like wild.
But even chanterelles and like all those like. Any fancy
you get good quality shit, right? Like makes a big difference. I found this. If anyone like actually that like does so, I wanna add. I do want to ask you about Texas because I know you went down there too. But I just want to add while it's still fresh.
Do you mind if we take like a break, quick, just so I could pee?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. We are live once more.
We had to take a Spanakopita break.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I want to do something. I do want to ask you about Texas, but I want to do something quick. So I really there's 4 people I really want to interview. Okay, this is kind of what I was talking about before the break. So part of the reason we started this is we really want to just talk to people from different walks of life. That's really our mission. So we'll include something in the description of basically just like a plus box type deal that you can just spit an email to. But like, I know when we listen to podcasts, we always think like, man, it'd be really cool to like get interviewed on a podcast. So if you think you want to get interviewed on a podcast, then fucking shoot us your shit, man. And if we think you'd be a good conversation, we'll have you on. But brings me to my next point. I really fucking want to interview a ghost hunter. That was like the one thing that I wanted to do last year that I just didn't get to do.
We should do the one of the ghosts, the paranormal investigators that I sent you that business card.
Yo, so we did. We sent off some DMs and some emails, but no one responded. Maybe fucking pull that up. Do you still have that? I'll give them another shout. But here, I found this.
Like, there were some people that were interested, but, like, they were just, like, quirky enough that, like, I just couldn't help myself and ended up fucking with, like, one or two of them. But, definitely have some content there.
I really want to interview a ghost hunter. Please. So did some respond to you and you fucked it up, or what?
Like, there was this one that had some amount of interest and then went live, and then I just, like, fucked with them.
Oh, you told me about
live.
that.
Yeah. Shout out to Pretty Effin' Spooky, I think.
Okay. So I found officialghosthunters.com. So
Okay.
they have a place. Sorry. This fucking Spanakopita is so good. Okay. So I'm going to send them a message from the Moonbase podcast. We have a Gmail, right? Just the Moonbase podcast at fucking Gmail.
I think so.
Do we want to check before I put that?
Before, what are you doing?
I'm sending them a message.
Who?
Ghosthunters.com.
I don't know if I would have it, or if there would be anywhere, it'd be on this laptop.
Okay. What should the message say? Hello.
Well, I don't know. This is like
I am
your shtick. Like, this is what you
inspired
want.
by your fortitude and bravery. No.
Your ability to deal with
I
ghosts
would
is
love
unmatched.
To understand your stories and foray into this strange and beautiful world you and Demi Lovato operate in.
Danny DeVito.
Well, no, because remember Demi Lovato like went crazy. She like posted that video where she like went into a haunted house and she apologized to the ghost for getting sexually assaulted. Cause she like talked to ghost rape victims and like said she was sorry, so that their like spirits could rest. You never seen that?
Maybe like a reel or something.
Let me find. Let me find it. Demi Lovato. Ghost singing. She sang. Oh, she sang to them. She sang to the ghost to help them overcome their trauma. Yeah. I'm just gonna play.
Man, I don't know. Like,
Lovato.
might have to fucking order her over here. Sing to me.
I have trauma too. So I feel you, and I get it. Do you like to sing, Carmen?
I assume Carmen is the ghost.
Nah, Carmen's a
You should
slut.
sing something for her, Demi.
Go on and try to tear me down. I will be rising from the...
Okay, so seeing that it's all like with like this cat, does that mean they're?
Why
like,
does Demi
sitting-
Lovato look like your ex-wife?
I think that was on purpose. I think she did that look on purpose.
I'm just fucking with you.
You're not wrong, though. Yeah, it's a little rough. with this camera, does that mean they're in like a pitch black room? Like they'd have to.
I guess so. Yeah.
And she's just like singing in a pitch black room to a fucking. All right.
I guess, yeah, they'd be just doing spooky stuff in general.
June, we would love to talk to anyone. The hunters or crew about their life and or experience. Please reach out to us and let us know if we can have you on the podcast. What is the email? Did you find it?
Yeah, I did.
What is it?
It is the moon base. So yeah, just THE moon base
Yeah.
social at gmail.com.
All right. See if that goes where. I also want to try, and we talked about this before, fucking Apogee, Tim Kennedy School.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to talk to someone who worked at that school or works at that school.
Is it up yet?
Yeah, I think so. Donda, too. Like Kanye's school that he did there. That was around for like a year.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of them signed NDAs, but like it'd be sick to just talk to them about the stuff they can talk about. Cause like, I know it didn't go super well, but I think the idea behind it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like alternative learning, having kids and different environments. You're not just teaching them to pass exams that don't mean anything. Now that's the problem, right? Like when you're learning to learn, or when you're studying to like get better at something, there's like an implicit benefit, right? It doesn't have to be tangible. It doesn't have to be a certificate or like a good mark. It's like now know how to do something you didn't know how to do before. And like that can be its own reward.
Yeah, like if it only like really has like an application within like real life.
But like if you're just studying to pass an exam or you're just studying to pass a test, like I've been in this, like the last course I was on, we were getting an exam pretty much every week and we had a test every 3 days. Like you learn, you cram, you pass your test, and then you fucking dump all of that info so you can make room for the next.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're retaining maybe 20 to 30% of what you're learning there. Because to actually retain information, the number one ways you have to teach it. The number two ways you have to learn it in multiple different ways, right? You learn the same thing. So like you learn it tangibly with your hands, then you learn it auditorily, then you learn it visually, then you write it, then you read it, and then it like creates more pathways. Well, if you're just cramming for a test, you're just like, whatever I need to do to memorize this shit, that's what I'm doing. Like,
yeah. And then as soon as you dump it, you're just like, I don't give a fuck about this anymore.
So I like the idea that there's like schools and organizations that are trying to teach, I don't know if it's real shit, but different shit. They're teaching, because like I feel like one of the big things for me that got me a lot farther was I didn't know how to learn properly. Like I actually think I like at this point, if I wasn't where I'm at in my life now, I would probably consider university, because now I understand how to learn properly. But I didn't know how to learn properly before, because like you need to learn how to learn, and if no one teaches you how to learn properly, you're fucked.
Yeah, to an extent. Like I feel like I was like, I don't know, I naturally like understood certain concepts.
Like,
there'd be like like if it was like if I was interested in like how like blowing stuff up worked as a kid, I'd like learn every aspect of it, and I think it was just like molding. I think it's like beating you into like a certain like path or form that really like gives you like the disincentive to learn anymore.
But if you need to learn something you're not interested in, it's a lot more difficult.
If I need to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more difficult. Versus if you have like a standard method of whether I'm interested or not, this is how I learn information, this is how I, like, you have your own method.
But that was never out of need. It was just like, this is like...
I think what I'm trying to get at is just like learning how to learn and learning how to problem solve can almost be just as important or more important than the actual subject matter. Like I'm learning coding right now.
Yeah.
And a big part of coding isn't actually learning the syntax, it's understanding like algorithms and problem solving.
Like what a while loop actually does rather than like how to write out.
But also like when you start like, especially when you're writing like code that's going to search for stuff or code that's going to organize things, actually understanding mathematical algorithms that have been established by like PhDs, that's like, here's like a proven method that works well, and you just apply that over and it's like, this is way more efficient.
Yeah.
Right? Like stuff like a lot of what you're doing is learning concepts that don't really have anything to do with code, but actually have everything to do with code, because
like sorting arrays and shit.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. Like that's not so much learning the syntax as it is like trying to fucking like, for the first 3 weeks, it was just like I could feel my brain fucking turning to mush and then rejigging itself. And it was like every day I could feel my brain rejigging a little more and a little more.
I know what you mean, yeah.
Right?
There's a point where like if I'm like if I have a period where I'm really like coding a lot in my life, I'll like have things
start approaching things differently too.
Yeah, like I'll be like at the grocery store and I'll be like, okay, like I have to grab like I want ramen pack. I want 10 times ramen pack. Grab ramen pack 10 times. You know what I mean? It's like a weird like robotic like mythology. Yeah, like.
But I think I split my time basically between like my writing projects and like learning to code, and going back and forth. Like I found the way I approach writing now is completely different. I almost approach it the same way I do with code. Because with code, you have a big project.
Has it been drier?
No, I'm more efficient. Because with code, you're like, okay, I have this giant task. So you make a bunch of to-do lists.
Yeah.
You're like, I need to build this, and then this, and this needs to do this, and this needs to do this. And I'm approaching this like I'm writing a graphic novel, and I'm like, okay, fuck, there's like a lot here. So I made a list. And I broke down the scenes. And I'm like, here's what I need from each scene. And now it's way fucking easier. Because now it's just like, okay, what do I need to work on? I did this scene. And I need this scene to do this thing. And then that's all I need to think about in my brain. I can leave all the other stuff. And I was like, oh my fuck. Like if I wasn't learning to code, that other project might not get done. So then it's just like, to me, that I feel like this just like teaching, or it's reinforcing the value of learning different ways to learn that much more.
Okay.
Like trying to get kids early to learn different ways to think about problems.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And logic.
Like if you get in like the math brain, it's completely different than the English brain or whatever.
100%.
Yeah. I know what
like you're probably a better contractor because you know how to code. Because you're able to separate the jobs. You don't get overwhelmed. You're like, there's this task, and then there's this task, and then there's this task. And here's how they all work together. But I can segregate them in my brain in a way that isn't overwhelming. Like, I feel like that's really important.
Yeah.
Like for everything. Managing stress, too.
I think I'm just really at the point where it's like, I have to, like, start outsourcing things, or I'm gonna, like, just burn out. Because, like, there's, like, even just, like, if I could, like, have my administrative work, like, dealt with for me, then, like, my life would be so much easier in terms of, like, contracting-wise.
I think that's the one thing. I was talking to Ashley about this. I think the one thing that I've learned, having, like, either been a part of or running several different kinds of businesses, most of the actual, like, there's a lot, it's probably, like, 20% R&D, product development, and then there's maybe like 10 to 15% where you're like, I don't know, doing stuff, trying to get business, doing marketing, doing sales. But I would say pretty much the rest of it, if you're manufacturing, that's a big part. But if you're not manufacturing anything, most of the rest of your time is fucking customer service. Mm-hmm. It's just like talking to customers or dealing with customers or answering their questions or like there's a lot of fucking administrative work, or like in your case, like fucking organizing jobs and buying materials and like doing the actual job is like a pretty small part of getting everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it's a lot. I didn't realize that going in. I thought it was going to be like, oh, you want to be a plumber? You're fucking plumbing all day. And it's like, no, you want to be a plumber? You're probably spending 2 days of your week just fucking organizing plumbing jobs and doing paperwork.
Oh, yeah, invoices, like bullshit like that, like all day. Man.
Or like calling people that haven't fucking paid you and like trying to do quotes for jobs. Like it's
brutal. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
It's all like like a big appeal to the trades is like you go in and it's like I don't have to deal with bullshit ever again. But, like, unless you're just, like, a dude that's,
unless you work for someone.
Yeah, unless you're, like, the dude that's, like, okay, I've been a contractor for 30 years. I can, like, fucking slam a nail into a stud without looking at it. Like, you just fucking, like, point me in the direction and I'll smell it in the house. Like, then you're making $45 an hour or whatever, $50 an hour, like, working for someone. But otherwise, besides that, like, you're dealing with some bullshit for the most part. Like, you're talking to some customer where it's like, what do you mean you can't put, like, 1 by 1 foot tiles around this curved wall I have? You know? And it's like, woman, like, these tiles are massive. Like, if you want to make it curved, you can do it by 1 inch by 1 inch tiles, but, like, I'm going to have to fill in, like, a fistful size of grout between each tile. So, like, is that what you're looking for here? Like, you know what I mean? There's just certain things where it's like, I understand what you're trying to explain to me, but, like,
it's not going to work.
Like, yeah, like, life doesn't work like that, where it's like, or even, like, flooring, you know what I mean?
So
like,
I'm at the point, so, like, today I wrote a program that makes like a Damien Hirst painting. So it just fucking prints out a bunch of dots that are evenly spaced with different colors. Pretty like basic shit. But I showed Ashley and I was telling her it'd be really cool if at like one point I get good enough that I can like code a piece of like artwork. Like it's not gonna be complicated, but it's gonna be like I programmed a fucking random thing to paint me something, and it'd be cool to like have that on my wall and be like, I made that with code. Like I feel like that'd be cool. And she was like, she stopped before she even started. She's like, well, couldn't you just like, and then she like started and I'm like, what? She's like, I don't think I know how this works, so I'm not even going to try to explain it to you because I think it's going to be way harder than I think. I'm like, yeah, you're probably right.
Did I show you the like you know that Abu Hajar picture of like just that like ISIL affiliate like toddler or whatever?
No
picture. I have one on my phone from like a previous.
No, the brewskis.
Yeah, well, like there was a previous job where like pretty much through Python, I made this thing that just generated random faces using like an AI like OpenCV database of faces, but like. I feel like that's kind of how you'd have to go about it. I just have to... Wait, where's my pictures?
And you mixed a toddler with an ISIL dude?
No, so like it would just randomly generate faces off of like the CV database. So every once in a while you'd get like a toddler or something. But then...
like I know technically you could be like, oh, like this thing I made with DALL-E or Midjourney, like I made this with code. And it's like, well, you didn't fucking... make shit with code. You fucking interacted with an interface and an AI fucking with a shit ton of neural networks.
Yeah.
Something. It's not the same, right? Like,
yeah, that's true too. But also, like, if you look in, I've looked into like machine learning for doing
built it, but
like network intrusion.
Okay.
So, like, you can map out, like, I was looking into machine learning, like, how it actually, like, worked out a base level.
Okay.
With, like, statistical analysis, and, like, I don't remember a lot of that shit, but it's been a while, but, pretty much, like, the idea with security was, like, trying to get a baseline level of, like, what the normal traffic looked like.
That makes sense.
So anything that differed, like, to a exaggerated degree out of that would, like, no longer...
Basically like an AI anti-malware.
Intrusion detection system would be
okay, yeah.
right.
So like a HIDS, like a host intrusion or a network intrusion detection system, like a... They have
HIDS, yeah.
Yeah.
But it would be, like, just AI, so it'd, like, based on what your network is, it'd be, like, okay, like, Rammer, or, like, yeah, you're the admin, like, you interact with these computers, like, this many times a day, like, that's normal interaction. Okay, like, this day you interacted with this one computer, like, 100 times, that you usually interact with it, like, 5 times a day. That's an anomaly.
Right.
Let's make an alert, you know?
Oh, let me ask you about Texas.
Yeah.
You went to Waco.
Yes. The site of the Branch Davidian Church.
What was that like?
They're still there. They're still active. I think, like, given...
The branch is still active?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's still a thing. Like, the Branch Davidian Church, like, their compound's still there where the Waco site is.
Holy shit.
It's still, like, a thing. They have a museum. I didn't make it when the museum was, like, open. Like, during the hours.
Right.
Some people were leaving the compound when I showed up. But, like, given my attire and company, they just assumed that we were, like, young Christian couple or something like that. So just, like, waved at us and were nice. And then they left. And
so
then,
the actual, like, people in the compound waved at you?
Yeah. Yeah, that were leaving.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
Here we go. Charles Pace, the leader of a new group of Branch Davidians, stands next to a memorial for members.
What's that? Is that at the gate there? No.
It's wherever they have the memorial.
Like, if you look at the gate and stuff, I don't know if you, like, see the compound. I have pictures outside of that. And then there's, like, another, like, little, like, stone memorial thing that you can see. But it's just right at the front gate of their compound.
Okay, so I see this big ass...
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, like, the picture I have is outside that gate.
Damn.
I'll see if I can find it.
And then you also went to Shawshank, right?
That, I think, was in Ohio, if I'm not mistaken.
What was that like? You guys do a tour?
No, we didn't do the tour, but, like, it was, like, it's still an active prison as far as I could tell. Like, Shawshank's still running.
Oh, Shawshank State Prison is a fictional New England state prison. So you went to the prison where it was shot?
Maybe.
The Ohio State Reformatory.
Yeah, there, yeah.
Where they shot Shawshank.
Yeah.
So it was in Ohio. In Mansfield, Ohio. For those of you listening, he's trying to find a picture of him in Waco. I know he sent me one like quite a while ago, but I think he just wants to show me part of it.
Damn,
Damn, dude. That looks fucked. I wouldn't want to be there.
Where?
Yikes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Shawshank place.
Holy fuck, man.
Yeah, we also visited the Bonnie and Clyde Museum that had, like, a bunch of the OG, like, Bonnie and Clyde, like, guns and shit they used in their robberies and stuff.
Wait, were Bonnie and Clyde real? I thought that was just like a...
No, they were real people.
Oh, shit.
It was, like, this, like, ex-con that, like, got it, or something like that. It was, like, this, like, dude that was just on a killing spree, like, robbery spree.
Jeez.
And then this, like, waitress that had her, like, husband in prison, and then it was just like, oh, this guy's, like, pretty bad, too, so, like...
Gonna go with him.
Yeah. That's a Shawshank.
That's fucking sick, man. With the little snowy roof.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was wild, like, when it got snowy and...
Dude, I can't wait till fucking Andrew Tate gets out of prison and starts ranting about how fucking spiritual and hard he got being in jail.
Dude, I saw this video when he was, like, going to the...
dick so hard.
Going to the fucking van or whatever. He has the same copy of the Quran that I do.
The Andrew Tate brand?
Yeah, well, like, I forgot what the actual translation is, but it's like a half English, half, like, Arabic one.
I got one of those, too.
It's like, it has, like, the little page in the corner of the Arabic.
I got, like, a really nice Arabic and English Quran. Like, it's, like, fucking, like, gold engraved and shit.
Nice.
And then I have, just, like, a really beautiful English translation. Like, a beautiful translation. I loved it, reading it a lot, actually. And then I have like the Oxford College edition of the Bible, Old and New Testament. I think it's like 6,000 pages because the entire thing is annotated with actual historical context to every single page.
That's sick.
So like, it'd be really cool to like read through that one day because you'd add a lot of context. But like,
Do you have that one?
I have it. Yeah,
that's sick.
Yeah, I can show you them after. They're pretty cool. I'm waiting to get some bookcases, so they're all packed up right now. I just moved into a house, so it's part of why it's taken so long to do this. I also like fell through the ceiling.
Yeah.
So Cap came and helped me fix my ceiling. You want to see something cool?
Yeah.
I'll show you this.
Why are you pointing a gun at me, man? That's not cool.
Have I shown
Get
you
that
this?
out of my face.
I finally fucking dug this up today. I've been missing it. I used to do this like once a week. Have I shown you this?
I don't know what I'm looking at.
This is my... So I haven't shown you this then. This is my my stitching kit.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, you sent me a picture of it. I told you about these, didn't I?
Maybe. I can't remember. But this is like my...
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude. I was telling you. I told you about these.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
I was like, yeah, you can buy these kits off Amazon. They're like,
you know what? You probably did say that, and then I bought it and went ham. Because I spent a big part of last summer fucking suturing.
Nice.
Like learning to like stitch.
Yeah.
There's still 2 that I need to learn how to do. So I know how to do fuck, I can't remember the name. But I know how to do like the single stitch, and then I can do a running stitch. And then I learned how to do like a deep in stitch, which is like what you do when you have like dissolvable sutures where you don't want them like visible, like railroad tracks. The only one I need to learn how to do is to close big wounds like this. You have to do like an inner one and an outer one, and you do it in a certain way that when you pull, it like latches it closed like this, and then it seals it. And then you do your running. So you do like 1, 2, 3 on a big one, and then you stitch it.
Okay.
To like keep it more.
I've looked into these solid kits, and
it's like $60, man.
Certain people that have like worked in the funeral industry, if you know what I mean, have been like, we could just get like a big like pig skin surface. And then, but I also don't know what that's like, right? Because obviously, if you're doing it for a funeral, it's more cosmetic. You're not actually trying to like save anyone.
Yeah, but like learning how to stitch at a funeral home, you'd probably get really good at doing cosmetic.
Yeah,
and like it'd be really good practice because obviously, like cadavers are the most like anatomically similar. Yeah. I remember I like basically got a date with this girl. She didn't fucking show up to the date. She bailed on it. But I think part of it was because she was like in pre-med school and I was talking to her about how fucking cool I thought cadavers were. And she was like, what? Like, you know what cadavers are? Like, you're into cadavers? I'm like, yeah, they're fucking cool. And she'd like talk to me about like traditional pregnancy positions. And we'd like talk about cadaver. It was weird. I thought...
You know the chainsaw was invented to help with pregnancy?
No, No, it wasn't.
I'm not even shitting you.
What? Okay, tell me that. What?
It was like a little like handsaw thing that it was like. I'm pretty sure it was like the first C-section.
I don't know why I'm looking. Okay. The doctor's chainsaw was used during symphysiotomies. Symphysiotomies? This was a procedure carried out on pregnant women during birth in place of a cesarean section. What the fuck?
See, I know stuff, people.
What? Chainsaws were originally invented for helping people with childbirth, not for cutting wood. At first, the procedure was performed with a small knife, which was very messy and painful. In 1780, 2 doctors invented the chainsaw to make the removal both easier and less time-consuming. The original chainsaws were powered by a hand crank. Oh, God. Can you imagine? This dude's
like the old drill, you know? Like, you ever try and drill a hole with the old drill where it's like, you try and get it, but then like every once in a while the drill bit gets stuck in something or some shit? Probably be like that.
The procedure was originally performed by... Okay, I'm going to just give a...
graphic warning.
I'm going to give a graphic warning here. I kind of want to read through this, but if you don't want to hear it, I would just like... I would skip at this point to where we stop talking about it. Maybe I'll put like a little...
We'll
sound.
make a weird noise, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, the procedure was originally performed by hand, using a small knife and saw to remove the bone. This was all done without anesthesia to a woman in the middle of giving birth.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
It's like the OGC section.
So they invented the chainsaw so it would be less time consuming.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like them trying to cut out the baby with a small knife while the woman's screaming without anesthesia. God, dude, childbirth sucked before fucking... Now you can walk in and before you even start giving labor, you can just be like, nah, I want the shot. Give me the shot. I don't want to feel shit.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I guess you could just like shoot yourself up beforehand, but you're still connected to the umbilical cord, so you'd still like...
They'd get some heroin.
Fuck up the baby. Probably wouldn't be a good idea. Fuck up the baby.
They'd have a little bit of withdrawals. Nothing... Just builds character.
So... Oh, they have a picture.
Yeah, the hand crank guy.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's the one.
Alright, I'm going to try and describe this. So it's basically... It looks like the handle of a Roman gladius. It actually looks like a Roman gladius, but the top is like a chain, and there's a handle on the side. The chainsaw was soon used for other bone cutting operations and amputations in the surgical room. Wow. Symphysiotomies are no longer performed, but sometimes still happen in third world countries. Holy shit, dude. Man, that's fucked. What were we talking about? Oh, natural childbirth positions. Yeah, dude. So she was telling me that, like, the guy that, basically the reason women are put in stirrups, this isn't entirely true. It's like, stirrup? Okay, see, like, you know, when women are on their back, there's like those two big hanging things that they put their feet into. Yeah. Okay, so those are stirrups. So the reason they're on their back in stirrups actually isn't to assist with childbirth. There's a couple reasons. So, like, I think part of it was when you do natural childbirth, you, like, kind of have to be held by people. And that was kind of inconvenient. I think that was part of it. There was some doctors in the 1700s that were pushing for it. But she was telling me a big part of it, too, was there was this king in England at the time who was, like, a fucking creepy-ass pervert. And so he wanted women to be, like, up in stirrups so he could, like, stare into their vaginas.
While they're giving birth.
Yeah, he had like a really fucked up like pregnancy fetish in like the 1700s. Weird. There's this weird fucking king. You can look it up.
I've heard that like that.
I'm
sort
really
of thing
paraphrasing here, but what's that?
People, but I've heard like seeing that kind of thing like ruins.
I mean, unless you're into it, like maybe you like that big gape, you know. Maybe that's your.
I mean, like, yeah, I guess.
But
right?
so I'll show you, like, natural. You squat. It's the same. We were talking about.
Or like a birthing pool or whatever.
Well, no. Well, yeah, that's good too. But we were talking about. Remember, like, we were watching that thing with Glenn Villanueva where he's talking about how, like, you're supposed to shit in a squatting position. You're not supposed to be, like, seated on a toilet.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You're supposed to be, because if you're on your back, where, like, it's all on you. If you're like this, gravity assisted, right? Like,
yeah.
Hold on, let me see if I can find. Like this, there's like this one. There's this one where you're like kind of seated, but like you're seated like upright to get that like gravity assist. There's like these ones where you're like squatting using a chair. Basically anything you can do to let gravity help you.
I see.
But like she was in pre-med and she was telling me like there's a big push right now to try and get women to stop like sitting in the stirrups because it's actually like more risky and like can take longer. You can get more complications because if you're upright, the baby's just gonna come down, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be careful too. You don't want the baby to like slip out and fall on its head, but
yeah, but you're also like squatted like 10 centimeters above the ground.
Also, when
your vagina is still like holding on to it too.
Also, when you think about it too, like back in the day, if you were squatting, you were probably doing it in like the barn over hay, or like outside, so it would fall into the dirt. Like even if you're birthing in the winter, you're not birthing on a fucking concrete or like stone. Typically, you're gonna do it in like the
you're
barn
not gonna be like, oh, like this is a nice coral formation for me to birth on. Like it's gonna be like this is a nice soft area. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like obviously there's a big push in general just to like go back to like more naturalistic stuff, but I feel like there's a good in between like kids should know how to code, they should understand how AI works, they should be like adept with technology. Like fucking ChatGPT is sick, man. Like when I don't even use Google most of the times now. Like if I'm like trying to learn a concept, I'm not going on Stack Overflow. I'm fucking asking ChatGPT, hey, explain how this fucking concept works to me like a 5-year-old. And it'll tell me. And I'm like, okay, cool. This is like actually, can you show me an example? Boom, here's an example. Okay, I want to do this with the thing, but
that's what I've heard. I've heard the search engine game with it is like more.
It's gonna fucking like once it gets like really good. Like if I can just go, hey ChatGPT, explain this thing to me. Why the fuck would I use Google anymore?
Yeah.
Like I think that's really where it's gonna thrive. It's gonna completely replace like the traditional search engine.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. In some ways, you still want to search through the search engine because it's just an indexer.
Like for images or stuff? Would that be
for stuff, I think for images, for specific like articles or stuff like that. But I think for concepts, like for learning, AI is going to hold a really important place, I think, especially for learning.
Interesting.
Like it's sick. You can even get it to like basically do packet tracing and stuff for you.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's nuts,
It's
man.
wild.
Like, so I think you need a good in-between of that, but then also, like, you want your kids to be fascinated with nature and excited about the outdoors. You know, you want to take them hiking. You want to show them birds and fucking gators. Be like, look, you see how that crocodile just grabbed that fucking lamb and ripped its legs off and tore around into the... Like, that's fucking sick. That's important, too.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like that violent, but I feel like when you understand the nature and the beauty of like that was fucking cool. Watching that thing happen in nature was like that was cool shit. Like I just watched 2 hippos kill each other. That's awesome. Like I feel like that's a big part that's just like missing out of a lot of like suburban upbringings, you know? Like I was talking to Ashley about this the other day. She's like, we're not fucking giving our kids iPads. Like we're not going to be iPad parents. And like it's fucking crazy that that's even a thing.
Yeah.
Like I know I had like a Game Boy and a DS and stuff, but that's like, okay, we're going on a 4-hour car trip. I don't want to fucking listen to you talk. Here's the Game Boy. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And when you're at
or like
home,
listen to some fucking old people music or whatever the fuck.
And like if they're at home and they want to like play video games or they want to watch something on the TV, okay. But like fucking TikTok and like I'm off of all social media now, man.
Yeah.
Like I haven't been on.
I bet it feels a lot better overall.
Dude, I think I've been off of Instagram for over a full year now. I think the last time I posted something was like January or February of last year. And I just basically deleted my account. I don't use Facebook. The only thing I'm on is Twitter, and it's like an anonymous account just for news.
Yeah.
Just to like be in the loop of like as stuff happens. But like, dude, it's fucking freeing. It's nice. Like I see people on TikTok now and I'm like, that's fucking like
you live in hell.
You're giving yourself cancer.
Yeah, I know.
Or like people getting stuck and like I see it for myself, right? Because like I have an addictive personality, right? Like if there was fucking like I was bad for like Reddit porn. Oh my god, dude. Because it's like
you can search up whatever category you want.
No, it's worse. Because it's like Instagram or TikTok where you can scroll and constantly content switch, but it's just naked ladies. So just like, it's like TikTok, but it's all fucking, they're all naked. Like, I was like, oh my god, this is like cocaine. Like, this is fucking insane. I had to get off of it. I'm like,
I like cocaine a little more than just random internet ladies.
I was like, I gotta get off of this, man. Like, this is... But I understand it. I understand that, like, when you're in that paralysis, like...
Yeah, that, like, thought loop of just, like, who am I even doing this for anymore?
Or not even that, of just, like I try... I'm pretty bad for it, because I usually wake up and the first thing I do is check the news.
Okay.
But, like, I'm trying to get back to it. I was doing this thing at first. I think it was, like, Nick Huberman or whatever that was talking about it.
Andrew Huberman.
And he was saying the first hour when you wake up and the hour before you go to bed,
don't use your phone.
No technology. Just
for
fucking...
your circadian rhythm and shit.
And I was doing that for a while, especially in the mornings, and it was nice. It was nice. Like, I wake up, I go sit in the toilet, I take a shit, and I just sit with my thoughts. Because, like, sometimes you wake up, you fucking go on your phone, 40 minutes pass, you're still in bed fucking scrolling on shit. You're like, oh my... Like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
I still gotta shit, I gotta shower, I gotta make the bed. It's like... Now your morning is 2 hours before you fucking got anything done. I get a lot of days off, so I can take 2 hours in the morning, but I guess I fucking hate it. I hate how much time I waste on stupid ass shit like that.
Yeah, so like even like just going through your settings and like looking at how much hours you spend on your social media. If you do spend time, like. Even if it's like an hour a day. At least
you and me are checking. Like, some people won't even check the screen time
fucking
stats.
I don't know, like, I think the most I've ever seen was like an hour and 30 minutes in a day, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like,
but then it's crazy. There's people that spend like 3-4 hours on that.
Yeah, like, at a certain point, I just like run out of things to, like,
Your ex, like, fucking lived on that shit.
Yeah, well, like...
Mine did too, like, actually.
That was all her life, was, like, looking at fucking dumb shit on the internet and
Jesus
then, like...
Christ, I can't...
Watching some shows and then, like, somehow just, like, formulating opinions off of, like, what would be, like, the most...
And, like, I'm not saying
puzzle piece thing to fit into that reality.
I'm not saying this to shit on her either. It's just, I don't understand how people can, like, live with themselves in that world.
They don't. They hate themselves.
I'd be fucking banging my head on the wall, man.
Yeah. But they don't either. It's like, if you like...
It's crazy.
Even after like, 2 to 5 years, like if you just haven't accomplished anything, like there has to come a point where it's just like, I am worth nothing. You know what I mean?
God.
And I think that's like, that's really when like you think like, oh, being like, fucking 21 on TikTok mental ill is bad. Wait till you've been on TikTok for 9 years and then you just have nothing to show for your 9 years.
I had this conversation before too. I think the problem is, I think I'm gonna leave with this. I think the problem is that, there's an expectation issue, and then B, it's a gratification issue. So before, right, like in the 80s or 90s, if you're like, I want to be a rock star. Okay, like you couldn't just, there was no online space to put out music.
If you picked up a guitar, you went to the bar, you did open mics.
Right, or you fucking paid money to go into a studio, record your shit, press it into discs, and hope you could sell some. And you're only a rock star if you actually achieve success doing that. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, but now, you have fucking kids that are just like, making their shit, putting it out, and they're like, yeah, I'm a rock star. And they live in this fantasy world where they think because they have viewers on TikTok or that
anyone can go viral now,
right? Or like, I'm a rapper. I got this. I fucking like that kid on Channel 5. That kid's going around saying he's a rapper. You're not a rapper.
Every other kid, yeah,
right.
On Channel 5,
so, but there's also the flip side of that. Because I feel like people can also get into the rut of, I'm not this thing unless I achieve success. There's a middle ground between the two of those things, right? Like, one of my favorite quotes from Louis C.K. is how he said that he was a comedian the moment he stepped on stage with a microphone. Because to him, as soon as he started doing comedy, it didn't matter whether he achieved success. He was on that Mount Olympus. He was doing the thing. So I think you need to have an in-between. If you say you're a rapper because you rap, you produce raps, you go on stage and you rap, that's cool. But if you're like, I'm a fucking, like, I'm the shit, like, I'm a G, like, I'm a sick ass famous rapper, and you're not, and you live in this delusional world where you're fucking self-gratifying, or you're like, I'm a superstar because I'm on fucking, I got 3 million fans on TikTok. Dude, you're nothing. You're fucking, you're this week's entertainment.
Yeah.
Oh, I got fucking $10,000, $20,000 in sponsorship deals. Dude, ask me how much money, fucking, what's that kid's name? Lil Pump? Ask me how much Lil Pump's made. What's Lil Pump doing now?
Yeah.
Like, you can't, you gotta find the middle ground between being happy, there's also that problem of like, people are like, okay, I want to be a singer. And it's like, if they don't hit these certain benchmarks they have, like they're making X amount of dollars singing or whatever, they're like, oh, I'm a failure, I'm a piece of shit, I have no worth. And it's like, no. If you just set your bar of, I'm a singer because I go to open mics and I sing and I perform and I write my own songs and I make people happy, then you are a singer. That's your sense of purpose.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you gotta find the middle ground there between setting the right amount of expectations and not getting fucking delusional.
Yeah.
Over where you're at.
I mean, it's like the podcast in a way. It's like,
yeah,
we're not out here being like, oh, I'm gonna be like fucking Rogan living in my like $7 million mansion.
Yeah, but no one's gonna hit that level, right? Like,
yeah, no, but
and the beauty of it is he didn't even think he was gonna hit that level.
Yeah. But, like, at the end of the day, I feel like this is still more at a point where it's, like, more for us than it is for...
Well, right. It's like, how do you measure success?
Yeah.
Right? Like, you actually... They've done studies, and you won't achieve more happiness past, like, $70,000 a year. That's probably gone up with inflation. I'd say that's more like probably $90,000 a year.
100, yeah. 90,
but, like,
but
past $100,000 a year, if you were smart with your money, what else do you want?
Yeah.
Like, if you need to do all these opulent things to fill the void inside you, you're not happy to begin with. You have something else.
And then at a certain point, it just all wears off.
And then it's like, oh, but like, I need to be rich and famous to like feel self-worth. And it's like, okay, well then you have like an insecurity issue. It's not a success issue. You're trying to prove yourself to someone else.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a. I feel like that it's a big issue that people just lack purpose, and like they need to develop skill sets and have solid grounding and not be fucking delusional and spend all this time on TikTok and learn how to do actual fucking skills.
Yeah.
Like, do something, man. Go take up archery. Go learn how to crochet. Like, Go to the fucking...
Do something in the real world.
Yeah, go to the aquarium and go pet a starfish, man. Like, go do something.
Do it on ketamine.
There's a podcast about that story if you guys want it.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't you?
I thought so.
Did you and Buddy do one about that?
Yeah.
I think he recounted that story.
Yeah. I just don't remember if we did.
All right. How do you want to pass Texas? How would you rate your...
I think we should keep Texas for the next time. Because there's like a lot more past Pennsylvania.
Okay.
That I feel like I could get into. So like...
Road trip
I feel like
2.
we could just like, yeah, like keep that into the next part of it.
Sick, man.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a good episode. I think that's it. We'll call it a wrap. And yeah, if you like what you heard, look at @the_moonbase_ at Instagram.com. And
Hit us up.
yeah, hit us up, send us a DM.
Yeah,
we have an email, themoonbasesocial@gmail.com.
Even if you don't want to be on the podcast and you just want to hit us up, talk shit, ask questions, fucking, yeah, man.
I'm pretty sure the Reddit is similar too. It's like the Moonbase Social. There should be a subreddit dedicated to the Moonbase.
I think the subreddit is r/Moonbase podcast, but it's fucking dead. But I'm on Reddit
all
the time. Moonbase Chef. If you find me, you can just hit me up.
Yeah, so if you want to reach out, we'd love to hear from you. And otherwise, hope you enjoyed the episode and have a great night, guys.